We're gonna kind of move into more of like the world news now and kind of more of like the heavier stuff that's hitting. So Caroline Levitt, she speaks to reporters. I believe this is on Iran.
Caroline. Glad to see everyone showed up to work today. All right. Well, happy Monday. It's good to see you all here. We have another busy week. When is it not a busy week here at the White House? As you all know, we'll be traveling to Michigan tomorrow. I know the president's really looking forward to it. He's going to give a speech at the Detroit Economic Club in addition to touring a factory in Dearborn, Michigan that produces.
Didn't he give a speech today? Oh yeah, I think he's still alive, right? Speaking about stuff, let me look this up. Is he still alive about some of this stuff? Yeah, it says he's still alive, that he issues urgent warning, nation on edge. Like, this is definitely one thing I want to look into, what his urgent warning speech and what his emergency announcement is. But I'm waiting for it to be over so I can just kind of go back and watch the video of it and see what's going on with it.
Produces F-150s, and my understanding is Ford is ramping up that manufacturing and also going to be hiring more American workers at this facility thanks to President Trump's policy. So he'll be doing that tomorrow and talking about all of the great economic news, which I would be remiss if I did not point out to you all. We have mortgage rates falling below 6% for the first time in years. Thank you, NBC, for this very fair and honest headline. But this is
So you're bringing the mortgage rates down. How about we bring the actual prices of houses down and bring actual wages up? So this way more people can afford housing. We need to get the immigrants and these squatters out of these houses. And we definitely need to build more houses, but we need to build them smartly.
This is the truth, and these are the facts thanks to President Trump's economic policies, so frankly they're hard to deny. And then again, we have the Washington Examiner out this morning with gas prices. The national average has fallen to $2.79 per gallon for the first time in nearly 5 years.
Yes.
So these were two of the biggest pain points for the American people, as you all know.
So I just bought a pickup truck because I needed to get a new vehicle, and I've always wanted to get a pickup truck after the first one I had about 10 years ago went. And it cost me, what was it? Like 60 some dollars to fill it up. And gas prices in my area keep going down dramatically.
Under the previous administration, gas prices, mortgage rates, interest rates, all things that this administration is committed
It's about time.
To seeing fall. In addition to prices, we know core inflation is at its lowest point as it has been in 5 years. And so these economic policies are really coming into fruition now that we're in 2026. And we'll be seeing more tax cuts into the pockets of the American people later this spring as well. So it's all good news on the economic front, and I know the president looks forward to talking about that tomorrow in Michigan. I'll take some of your questions today.
Does the president think that the Fed chair should be in jail?
Thank you so much, Caroline. Jerome,
Yeah.
President Trump
She just ignores him.
on multiple occasions, and the administration could probably bring a lawsuit against him. Did the president ever direct DOJ officials to open an investigation into Powell?
No.
And can you reassure the American public that his longstanding criticisms and public comments about Powell had nothing to do with the investigation?
Look, the president has every right to criticize the Fed chair. He has a First Amendment right, just like all of you do. And one thing for sure, the president's made.
Hold on, what did he do to Powell? I missed this. What did he do to him? Fed chief called the move for pretext against setting up interest rates. Oh, so the Fed chair, so Powell was attacking Trump's economic plans, basically. And it looks like the DOJ opened up an investigation on him. Let's just click on this one and see what we can find out real quick. Uses Trump administration of using legal threats to influence federal policy. Dina marks escalation. Republican senators, these people, condemn probe. House Speaker Johnson says he'll let probe play out. So wait, what is this going on about? Criminal probe of Jerome Powell drew fire from the Fed. Okay. What of indictment? Made to Congress about a building renovation project. Oh, was this going? Is this about Trump putting the new like mortgage rate thing in? What was it for, like 50 years or something like that? But it only dropped prices by like $10 or $15 per month. Is that what this was about? Ooh. Damn, so Trump's going after this motherfucker. Well, it doesn't even look like Trump's doing it. It looks like the DOJ's doing it.
Made it quite clear is Jerome Powell is bad at his job. As for whether or not Jerome Powell is a criminal, that's an answer the Department of Justice is going
Half
to
of them are bad at their jobs. Get them the fuck out.
To find that out.
Thank you. Two more questions on the Fed for you. Senator Tillis is promising
Get them the fuck out.
All Fed nominees until this legal matter with Jerome Powell is resolved. What does the president make of that?
I haven't spoken to the president about Senator Tillis' comments. I'll leave that to our legislative affairs shop to figure out, and I'll let the president speak on that himself. Go ahead. Believe that the Fed should operate independently from him. The president has made it quite clear he thinks Jerome Powell is bad at his job, and the president has made it quite clear, as have many economists, by the way, that interest rates should be lowered, and they should have been lowered a long time ago.
But does he believe in the—
Wait, so is Powell in charge of all that? I'm not too familiar for this. Analysis of domestic and international financial and economic development. Also supervises banks, payment system. Huh. So basically, this dude was in charge of the entire board of let's see. Maximum employment, stable prices, and moderate interest rates. Regularly with the Treasury Secretary has been Fed chair since term that can. So basically, this guy was in charge of our employment rates, making sure prices are stable, and moderating interest rates. And it looks like he served as chair. He got hired in 2018. And so that was, what, about a year or so into Trump's first presidency? And then it looks like he served throughout all of Biden's term, too. So basically, this guy, from my understanding, was in charge of employment going down and all of us kind of being shafted by the economy.
The independence of the Fed. He has, and he said that many times.
The president believed that Jay Powell should go to jail if he lied about the president.
Eamon, you're yelling out a question that's being asked in a different way, but it's the same exact question as we just answered, and I just answered it. We'll let the Department of Justice determine that.
Nice.
Strikes off the table in Iran, and does he believe there's a potential path to end the protest there without military action?
Well, I think one thing President Trump is very good at is always keeping all of his options on the table, and airstrikes would be one of the many, many options that are on the table for the commander-in-chief.
What was that, like Operation Midnight something, like when we already bombed the hell out of Iran? I mean, if we need to bomb them again, we'll bomb them again. We're going to look into some of the Iranian protests and shit going on a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, fuck it. I say if we need to, bomb them again. I don't really think we should. Like, I don't think we should just involve ourselves, but I think we should definitely help out the people of Iran to overthrow their government if that's what they so choose to do. But if we would go in and we would just start bombing, it would just be seen more as an American regime change instead of Iranians gaining their freedom. But like I said, we'll go more into that in a little bit later. We got a couple more videos to watch before we get into the Iranian stuff.
Diplomacy is always the first option for the president. He's told all of you last night that what you're hearing publicly from the Iranian regime is quite differently from the messages the administration is receiving privately. And I think the president has an interest in exploring those messages. However, with that said, the president...
Of course it is. It's just like Venezuela, because what they're going to do is they're going to put out, you know, hard messages. And what I mean by hard messages is they're going to seem tough. They're going to stand up to the U.S. and all these other people, like Venezuela was doing after we took down Maduro, their dictator. And they're going to say, you know, they're not going to work with the U.S. and they're going to do all this and they're going to fight back and they're going to protect their people. But then privately through back channels, they're going to be like, okay, you know, yeah, we're going to do what you want. You know, just don't bomb us. Or like in Venezuela's case, you know, don't invade us or work with you. But to the public, they're gonna act big. They're gonna act bad because they're gonna try to save face and show that they are gonna stand up for their people and protect them.
The president has shown he's unafraid to use military options if and when he deems necessary, and nobody knows that better than Iran.
Yeah, we bombed Iran once, took down their nuclear facilities. We sent Delta Force into fucking Venezuela, and it was like, what, 31 or 32-minute mission, and we only had a couple wounded, and that was it. Nothing like very serious.
I understand that Steve Witkoff will continue to be a very important player in diplomacy with respect to Iran.
Trump has confidence in Delcy Rodriguez?
I think the last week has shown that the president made the right, realistic assessment of what needed to take place in Venezuela at this moment in time. And the authorities and Delcy Rodriguez and her team have been very cooperative with the United States and the president and his team, as evidenced by the massive energy deal that the president was able to cut with the interim authorities, their commitment to release Venezuelan political prisoners, which we also saw last week. So we've seen a great level of cooperation, and the president expects that to continue. Go ahead. Sorry.
And how soon does he want to see elections in Venezuela?
I think right now it's still too soon to say.
Dude, why do all the reporters keep asking about elections? You can't just go in, remove somebody from power, and expect there to be elections in like 2 hours or 2 days. Hell, not even 2 weeks. You got to work with whoever's in power there and stabilize the country. Whoever Maduro's vice president was, that lady, like who's in charge now. So what they need to do is they need to stabilize the country, and they need to make the country able to hold an election. So they need to put the people back to work first. They need to get them fed. They need to basically help them redo the economy. Um, and then they need to find candidates, and then you could start running through the whole process. That could take 2 months. That could take 2 years. Like, nobody knows at this point. When Venezuela's ready to run elections, they're going to run elections.
And I don't want to set a deadline for the president.
Was the meeting this morning with Marco Rubio about Venezuela? What can we see this week on Venezuela? More meetings?
The president meets with the Secretary of State and National Security Advisor daily, sometimes multiple times a day. And so it was on a range of topics, as it always is.
Didn't Trump read like a note out loud?
Stop Iran and Hezbollah from operating in the country? Have those authorities done anything on that yet?
I think right now the main correspondence with the interim authorities is really focused on obviously ensuring stability and prosperity and continued cooperation with respect to energy. As you all know, there was a very powerful and big group of oil executives who were here at the White House on Friday, and so continuing to iron out some of these energy deals. We also have made it very clear, the president's made it very clear, that we don't want to see any more drug boats sailing from Venezuela towards the United States of America, which we have not, frankly, in the last week.
Yeah, didn't the drug boats decrease by like 90% and then after we took Maduro down, they just like completely stopped? I mean, who could forget the fishing submarine, right?
President's also made it very clear that only oil tankers that are approved by the United States of America will be flowing from Venezuela, and we will continue to seize ships that are stateless or that are not approved for commerce by the United States.
Back to Iran, is the objective in these discussions with Iran still complete denuclearization, or what else is the president looking for as he, engages in this discussion?
Well, he's made it quite clear he certainly doesn't want to see people being killed in the streets of Tehran, and unfortunately that's something we're seeing right now. Kelly.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the Iranian riots and shit soon.
And has President Trump spoken with Elon Musk about the internet situation there as well?
I understand he has spoken to Elon about that. Yes, he talked to all of you about that on the plane last night. What was your first question, Kelly?
Has Witkoff spoken with Iranian officials today? Could you give any updates on those conversations?
I haven't spoken with Mr. Witkoff today about that, but we can certainly get you an answer.
They're speaking to Iranian officials every day.
To you, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and they may be speaking as we're speaking. Can you give us a preview of what they'll be talking about, or will there be a readout as well after they're done of what they discuss?
I can see if the president will provide you a readout. How's that?
Yep, sounds good. And also, President Trump, has he seen the video put out by Jerome Powell on Sunday? And if so, what's his reaction?
That video was put out after I was with the president when Air Force One landed last night, I believe. So I was no longer with him when that video came out. I don't know if he's seen it or not.
Wait, there was a video put out by Jerome Powell? Okay, let me look this up real quick. So okay.
On
See
Friday,
what this
the
is
Department
real
of
quick.
Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law.
Gonna call you
But this
Stream Hub.
unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure.
All right, what threats?
This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
What threats? Where's your
Whether
evidence?
the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case,
Yeah, you served under the last
duties
president and
without
kind of
political
fucked
fear
us
or
all.
favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability and maximum employment. Public service sometimes requires standing firm in the face of threats. I will continue to do the job the Senate confirmed me to do, with integrity and a commitment to serving the American people.
What threats and what pressure, though? I do want to see this. Come back to here. Let me look this up. Let's see if this says anything. Criminal probe into power regarding his testimony to the Senate Banking Committee concerning renovations at the Reserve. Yeah, dude, you had like a $2.5 billion overcharge. Yeah, 2.5 billion renovation is viewed as an attempt to influence interest rate policy. Yeah, I totally fucking see that. Action as a pretext by Trump to force the Fed to cut interest rates. President Trump previously threatened to fire or sue Powell, accusing him of incompetence, describing him as a very stupid person. Oh, that's fucking Trump for you. I mean, he called what's his name, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. He called him a retard. He served as central bank with subpoenas related to the renovation project. Excessive. See, $2.5 billion building renovation. I definitely, I don't see that. I think there's some shady shit going on here. And I do think Powell should be investigated, which he is.
Does the president have a dateline or a timeline?
No, he has not set a timeline, but it's definitely a priority for him. She's asking about Greenland, and I think the president was very clear last night. He said that he wants to see the United States acquire Greenland because he feels that if we do not, then it will eventually be acquired or even perhaps hostilely taken over by either China.
So Greenland and the United States are actually meeting, and Denmark, I think that controls ownership of that claims ownership of Greenland. I'm pretty sure it's Denmark. Knows about the meeting, but is not invited to the meeting. So Greenland and the United States government are actually meeting openly in front of Denmark. The only claim that Denmark has to Greenland was the fucking Vikings landing on Greenland, as far as I can find out.
China or Russia, which is not a good thing for the United States or for Europe or for Greenland as well. Let's not forget, it would not just be in the best interest of the United States, but perhaps it would be in the best interest of Greenland as well to be part of the United States and protected by the United States. I can't even finish my answer. Everybody's screaming. Go ahead, Monica.
What did the president mean the last night when he said that Iran had called to negotiate and that there may be a meeting that is set up?
I mean, What else do you want me to explain by that?
We're gonna watch that then.
There was an official from the Iranian government, I believe it was reported earlier, that reached out to a member of the president's very close team, Special Envoy Witkoff, expressing a far different tone than what you're seeing publicly.
Secretary Kristi Noem has been front and center in response to this ICE video. Is the president satisfied with her efforts there and all of her media interviews?
Yes, 100%. President Trump and I actually spoke about this last night and how Secretary Noem is doing a phenomenal job, not just securing the border, which she and the president did together in record time, but also in defense of the brave men and women of ICE who put on a law enforcement uniform every single day to protect our communities and to protect all of you and every American, regardless if they are Democrat or Republican. ICE is doing a very important job to remove illegal alien criminals from our communities. And I think it's very striking that all weekend long, you had agitators and violent American citizens out in the streets of Minneapolis protesting. Protesting what exactly? Apparently,
They weren't protesting. They were purposely trying to cause incidents to happen again. I mean, you had the lady, what was it, 3-4 days ago now, that tried to hit the ICE agent and got shot. And over the weekend, you had all these protests going on. They were throwing snowballs. They were purposely trying to antagonize the ICE agents. They were basically trying to create another incident where somebody potentially got shot, and not even just shot, potentially got killed again. So these people are not protesting. Protesting is literally peaceful. Like that's the only word I could say for it. Like, you are allowed to stand there and protest something that the government does, whether it's your state government, your local government, the federal government. They could stand there, they could protest, hold up signs, talk to the agents if they want to. But blocking ICE agents from getting out, throwing shit at the agents, trying to hit them, trying to shoot them, you can't do that. Unpopular opinion, but I fully stand behind that ICE agent. He got hit by that car. He did what he thought was necessary to save his life. I'm probably going to get backlash for it. I already know I'm going to get backlash for it, and it is what it is. But I fully stand behind that ICE agent. I mean, he was hit by a car 6 months earlier, dragged down the road, and now you have some lady who wasn't even from Minnesota who came to protest him and tried to hit this guy with her car. The only reason she really, she only kind of, I'm going to say tap, but I don't think tap was the correct word, was because her car got stuck on fucking ice. Like, if there was no ice, she full on would have ran into him.
they are protesting the removal of heinous murderers and rapists and criminals from a city that I can guarantee
get these motherfuckers out of the United States.
Of the illegal criminals that ICE is removing from our communities every day, not a single person in those protests and not a single person standing here that works in the mainstream media in Washington, D.C. would want those individuals in your neighborhood, in your community, around your children, and around your families. ICE is doing an incredibly important job that's not just important to our homeland security, but our national security. And this administration will continue to stand wholeheartedly by the brave men and women of ICE, including that officer in Minneapolis who was absolutely justified in using self-defense against a lunatic who was part of a group, an organized group, to interject and to impede on law enforcement operations. And
I forgot about that. I forgot to mention that. She was the leader of this entire group. It was a whole group that came to protest them to try to stop the ICE agents, and she literally was like the first car in this group. So basically, she was the leader of what was going on, and then it was also mentioned that she was letting other cars through, but she wasn't allowing the ICE agents to leave. Like, she blocked the ICE agents. So this was purposeful. There's no way around it. And again, like I said, I stand behind the ICE agent. He was totally justified in defending himself.
It's disgusting what we have seen from the left. And I think that it just shows you where the modern day Democrat Party stands today in protecting illegal alien pedophiles and rapists and murderers over law-abiding American citizens and our brave men and women who serve in law enforcement.
Dude, I absolutely enjoy watching Caroline Levitt do her talking points. She's like Trump. She just, lack of a better way to put it, and I know it's not correct, but she just pretty much doesn't give a fuck. And it's great. It's refreshing. When we're coming from an administration where we got no news on anything, we had to sit there and stumble through a speech that didn't make sense from one guy, and then the vice president who could actually speak, and all she did was talk in circles. It's refreshing. And I wanted to wait a while before I started making any videos on Trump and stuff and, kind of give my opinion. But this administration so far, my opinion, I firmly believe that they are doing what they can for the American people, and they're trying to be as transparent as possible. Now, just like with every administration, there's certain things, they can't tell us or they won't tell us. But so far, honestly, I think Trump he's doing a good job. There's a few things that I would like to see and that I don't agree with, like the whole Epstein files and stuff. Their whole kind of going back and forth on those files. But I mean, taking down the Venezuelan dictator, stopping the drugs into the U.S., trying to go after the cartels, trying to lower prices. It's all stuff that so far I agree with.